lot of questions last night about security after this happened. I think a lot of people in the room felt rightfully shaken. It is unfortunately increasingly common that people are exposed to these kinds of shootings and to these kinds of violent events. But often, like, a lot of those people are not seeing them. So there's this sort of conversation over the last couple of days, sort of reflected in these couple of tweets. This one from Mads Campbell. My best friend and I went to White House Correspondents Dinner, and we ended up leaving early because something felt off. It started the second we got there. Every event we've been to, especially at this level, layers of security, bags checked, IDs checked, actual process. Rack is right, who is a conservative influencer. The biggest red flag walking into the Correspondents Dinner was the fact that I was allowed to keep my vape, usually. That's the biggest red flag. Usually any event with their Secret Service, they confiscate vapes. It was the vapes.
She knew something was wrong when they didn't take her vape. Like, why did she bring her vape if she thought they were going to take it?
Jennifer Jacobs tweeting a little bit of a corrective to some of this. I don't think people are hearing about this, or even those of us in the room realize how far from the president, the VP, and other guests this incident was. It was up another floor, some stairs, and several sets of security away. And I think that is so I went to the Correspondents' Dinner 3 times. And I do think it's worth noting, the way this is structured. You walk into the Correspondents' Dinner, and there's all kinds of, it's still a functioning hotel. So there's a bunch of parties going on. Politico and CBS usually do one. There's an ABC one. Puck had one this year. They're sort of all over the place. You kind of go upstairs for that. There's a red carpet downstairs. You walk through the red carpet, go upstairs. You go to the parties. You come back down an escalator. You wait in this line from hell for a really long time. Then you go through the mags, the security, airport, Secret Service check. Then you kind of walk through it, and there's this big ante room where there's bathrooms on the left and right. And then from there, you go downstairs another level, you hook a right, if I recall. Then from that right, you're in the back of the ballroom. And it seems like this all happened in that first ante room upstairs. And it seems like the guy kind of bum rushed security to get through. And I think we have a video here. This is from President Trump, our reliable news source. I mean, he just busts through there, but you can see the service agents are then kind of firing, and they seem to have just gotten him right there. So, he did not get very far, which I think is the one, thing here. I also think this video is really interesting, the video here of them evacuating Vance. So, just to say, from a Secret Service protocol perspective, these guys are Vance's protective detail. So their job is to protect J.D. Vance, get him out. These guys are Trump's, and they're trying to get him out. And then these guys here, these guys who come in with the big guns, they're called the CAT team. They're the counter assault team. And their job, so the people who are on the protective detail, their job is to try to get the package out. So their job is to save the president, the vice president, get them out. The CAT team, their job is to neutralize the threat. So they fire back. And I have to say, the CAT team, 2 things about them. One, they are the cream of the crop. They are the very best of Secret Service, the top 1% of the top 1% of the service agents. And they're also, they are beautiful. They scan for attractive. They are just all gorgeous men and women who have very large guns. And so you can kind of see them move into action in this video as well. So the operation, really worked in general. But there's been a lot of debate about this. Was it, the shooter himself sort of criticized Secret Service in his manifesto, saying, I can't believe it was this easy. There was right. Plenty of criticism. So there's a lot of criticism still around DC. But to me, I was sort of reading this and saying, well, actually, this is kind of the same as it's been every year, And there was Washington Post reporting earlier indicating that the Trump admin did not make this an elevated event on the level of State of the Union, despite there being, the line of succession, a lot of them being in the room. But they never have. And so I think, I think there's this question of, was this a failure? I think the question of, was this any different than any other year, is answered. I think the real question is that appropriate? And that's the ultimate question.
Yeah, and I do think, again, it's very dark to be in a place where you have to think this way, but it does just seem crazy to me that you would have an event with the president, the vice president, and most of the cabinet, and most of the DC press corps, et cetera, and do it in a giant hotel where there's, thousands of people staying for days, weeks in advance, bunch of other things going on. Like, I would think that moving forward, they would try to hold these things in places, event spaces that can be
Are you saying
secured.
some kind of ballroom on the White House campus?
Exactly. No, but like, there are places to do such events that are not like massive hotel rooms where you have tons of unrelated people like staying there and you have no check on who any of those people are. I mean, like, again, thank God nothing worse happened, but your mind kind of immediately goes to like, well, we're in the middle of a war. We know Iran has tried to assassinate the president before. Like, could they have gotten assets into the building? Like, it seems like obviously yes, because all you have to do, like, it's not like the fucking Hilton hotel, like the front desk lady is like running, your SF-86 checks on to make sure that the person's
your ID and 10 people who can vouch for you.
Exactly. But if people were talking about like all you needed was like a paper ticket or a screenshot of one, and like, for all the talk around voter ID, you think there would be some sort of like identification check if you're going to an event with 3/4 of the cabinet. Again, like going to the worst case scenario, the other thing that was jumping out at me was I was like, okay, so worst case scenario, fucking Chuck Grassley, who was first elected to public office in the 1950s, would have been the president, the leader of the free world, would have been a 92-and-a-half-year-old man.
Yeah, but that puts him in the middle of a Democratic field. It would have been fine.
Exactly.
I agree, but I stand in defense of the Washington Hilton because I think, first of all, this is an event that the press is inviting the president to on what is their, in theory, home turf. I don't think there's another room in D.C. where you could really do it safer. And the thing is like the whole thing of like, oh, it was open to everyone milling about and whatever. Like if there were 2,000, 3,000 people waiting for a wand or a mag outside the building, those are soft targets. Like you're more exposed if you're someone who's trying to attack them.
Nobody knows anything.